This is the story of Bo Jackson, the only athlete named All-Star in 2 different sports. When you think of great athletes in the 80s, you probably have a picture of Mike Tyson, Maradona, or Michael Jordan. They are regarded by many as the finest of their respective sport and athletes who truly shaped their era. But if you ask the people that truly know, a name you'll hear is Bo Jackson. Many people see him as the greatest athlete of all time, and for good reason. But if anyone has any doubt about that title, one honor no one in their right mind will think of contesting is the fact that Bo Jackson was the greatest 2-sport player of all time. And his out-of-this-world career is not what most people saw coming. You see, growing up in Alabama, Vincent Edward Jackson was known for his raw strength and affinity for trouble. He got in fights with the other kids all the time, and people had a clear picture of how he was going to end up. He was so outrageous that people called him the Wild Boar. But just like Mike Tyson, he channeled his raw, God-given athleticism into sport. And boy, what an outlet it was. You might have already seen this coming, but by the time Jackson started playing, Wild Boar became Bo. And just like Michael Jordan, Bo would try his hands at 2 top American sports, the MLB and the NFL. But unlike MJ, Bo Jackson was actually revered in both sports as the best of the best. He was so good, he became something of a mythical character where if some of the feats weren't caught on TV, they might have been considered an urban legend. He began his ascent in McAdory High School in his rural town in Alabama, where he did and bossed everything. Track, hurdles, long jumps, high jumps, decathlons, baseball, and of course, football. But the beginning of his unbelievable exploits was at the regional NFL scouting combine in 1986, while he was still at college, when he was told to run a 40-yard dash for the scouts. He ran the 40 yards through the finish line and out the door. When the scouts asked for the time, the official electronic timer replied, "There it is, boys, go out and catch him if you can." The time was an astonishing 4.13 seconds, the fastest ever recorded. And this was without even warming up. He began his MLB career with Kansas City Royals, and soon after he got drafted by the Oakland Raiders in the NFL. And from there on out, there was no stopping him. He was a household name, and people talked about the ridiculous things he did in each sport every day. Breaking his bat, home runs flying over 500 feet, easily flying by defenders on the gridiron, or the exciting rivalry with his major opponent, Brian the Boz Bosworth. Now, I'm not saying he was Superman, I'm just saying that no one ever saw him and Superman in the same place and at the same time. Companies saw this once-in-a-lifetime athlete and partnerships were rolling in. The most iconic was the Nike ad Bo Knows. They were selling a shoe geared towards athletes involved in more than one sport. And this ad wrote itself. Bo was perfect and it was a hit. Another iteration saw some of the GOATs of their respective sports repeating the Bo Knows tagline. Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, John McEnroe, you name it. Bo Jackson was a cultural phenomenon that looked like he was only just getting started. But to the shock of everyone, it would end almost as quickly as it started in a freak injury. In 1991, at the peak of his prime, Bo collided with an opponent awkwardly and dislocated his hip. He promptly fit it back in to continue the game, but this ended up having an adverse effect on the blood vessels and tissue surrounding the hip. Bo would end up dropping out of the NFL, and after going through treatment on his hip, he was released by the Kansas City Royals. He would play until 1994 before retiring. He's still the only MLB and NFL All-Star. And we all say Bo knows, but we wish we knew what could have become of him if he didn't have that injury.